White Capital Partners has undergone a transformation. It's announced plans to become a financial services operating company, unveiled a comprehensive balance sheet restructuring, and it's appointed a chief executive. The aim is to grow the business focused on the emerging fintech sector. It's listed on the Aquis Stock Exchange, and the chairman is Dominic White, who joins us now. So Dominic, to redefine, transform, change is healthy and a little bit scary at the same time. So what was the company before and what is its purpose now?
Thanks very much. Great to meet you, Sarah. So in 2018, I joined the company as the chairman. And back then, it was an Aquis listed company. It was an investing company, but it had just been restructured into a cash shell, so it had nothing in it. Since then, we've invested in a number of assets, and we traded in a number of assets. So we've invested in a supply chain finance business. We've invested or created an investing company focused on the cannabis sector, and we've invested in some corporate finance businesses. A number of those have been listed, a number of those have already been traded. And as you said, right now, what we've done is we've changed ourselves into an operating company wholly focused on financial services that will be led by fintech technology and operations in the fintech area.
Okay, so when I think about fintech, I think about digitization, blockchain-backed decentralized finance, crypto banks. So how can your company take advantage of these trends? Are you able to?
Yeah, I believe we absolutely are, yes. You're absolutely right to note those areas. There's big change going on in financial services already. You've seen the likes of Revolut come along, while the UK's fastest growing, or one of the UK's fastest growing unicorns. And they've done a fantastic job of digitizing banking with their great access to financial services and banking to so many people through the mobile phone, and their great money exchange capabilities. And there are many other companies coming along in decentralized finance, as you said, incredible growth in asset management services and in lending through decentralized finance. And that uses the blockchain. Again, you've noted that type of technology. What we want to do is jump on to that cutting edge of fintech using blockchain and such exponential technologies to apply them to what we are going to be doing. And we're going to be focusing on 3 or 4 areas. We're still working on defining those well, but we are very interested in asset management. We are very interested in the fintech banking area. And we are also very interested in the wider world of supply chain finance, which is particularly underserved for SMEs, small, medium-term size enterprises. We believe we can get access to the right transactions to create subsidiaries in our business. And we believe we can apply those technologies to those transactions to create cutting-edge exponential businesses.
So this shift from being purely an investment company to becoming a financial services operating company, it's exceptionally novel. And I can't quite get my head around what a financial services operating company does. I mean, you still invest in fintech companies, don't you? You know, either via balance sheet investment, capital under advisory, that type of methodology.
Yeah, absolutely. What it really means at its core is that the whole focus of the investing company or investment companies, which is what we were, is to buy assets with the end game of selling them. So you're a trader at the end of the day. Now, you might not trade over a day or a month or a year. It might take 2 or 3 years. But at the end of the day, you're investing with the idea that you're selling the thing you've invested in. Whereas an operating business, it also can, it's similar in many ways. You also clearly can acquire businesses, but you're strategically acquiring them for the long term. Now, you might sell the whole lot at some point because that might be the best thing to do for shareholders. But that's not the starting point. The starting point is you have a clear operating strategy. You want to grow your revenues within that operating strategy, but you're doing it for the medium long term not necessarily with the intention of selling, compared to being an investing company when you're doing it perhaps for the shorter medium term, with the whole point of it is acquiring to sell. So that's what we are. We've gone away from that. and become the operating business, focusing on getting involved in those businesses, helping them to grow their teams and their revenues, such that we can grow value over the medium to long term and hold on to our businesses.
I'm just wondering how much you can tell us and what's in the public domain, because I'm wondering what entities are approaching you, what's in the pipeline of opportunities?
Well, we can't say a lot, of course, and the last RNS we issued, or one of the last ones, was quite comprehensive in terms of the forward-looking plan when we announced that we were becoming an operating company. But as I've said, we're interested in the asset management area. We're interested in the wider supply chain finance area because it's particularly underserved, and we're interested in corporate finance, and we're interested in receiving a lot of calls from people who are right in that space of decentralization. So taking out the middleman of financial services, because the traditional banking model that has a lot of people in the supply chain, in the chain of providing the service, whereas the newer business models, particularly in the decentralized finance area, put the capital directly in touch with the customer. So you speak directly, it's much more efficient, it's speedy, it's much quicker, and it's much cheaper for all people involved to transact, and there's much more automation that goes with it. So that's the whole fintech game. Make it quicker, easier, cheaper, and more efficient through the application of technology.
And obviously make it leaner as well, which makes me wonder about your management approach. What is the management approach to portfolio companies, as it were? Hands-on, proactive, seat on the board, passive?
Well, now historically, as an investing company, it was everything you just explained, you just said. But now, as an operating company, it completely changes. So we're now hands-on. As an operating company, we'll have a seat on the board. We'll be involved in driving strategy. So it's much more. We're much more involved in what will be happening within these companies compared to in the past.
Okay, now the new chief executive, former Bank of England accountant David Bull. What is his mandate?
His mandate is to deliver everything I've just explained. No, he's been a fantastic addition. He's extremely proactive. He's very hands-on. He's got a great banking background. So when we start, and he's got a digital banking background as well. So he's got a tech head on his shoulders. So when we start talking about tech banks, digitization, crypto, all these things, he's very keen on that space. And he's been in that space before. So his mandate is, we're developing a very specific business plan around these 3 or 4 core areas I mentioned earlier: asset management, supply chain finance, corporate finance, and specialised banking, which is crypto banking type stuff. So he's out there talking to people in those areas who have opportunities for us to invest in and business lines for us to develop. And his mandate is also to get us through this initial changeover period. We've just become an operating company. We have this balance sheet change happening. We've announced a potential change of markets. We have that as something we're working on as well. So David's mandate, he's a very busy man at the moment, is to work through the plan of moving us from where we are right now to being this operating business with these operating divisions in the fintech space.
As I started our conversation, it was all about transformation, amendment. I'm just wondering why now? I'm speaking to you November 2021. We're coming out of the pandemic, because the pandemic is now endemic. We have to live with it. But why all these changes now?
I think it's the coming together of a group of technologies and situations in the financial markets that's the driving change all at the same time. When you have exponential technologies hitting very, very large markets that still haven't made big changes, but we believe are about to start making changes. And when you have these things like decentralized finance, businesses growing to billion-dollar businesses within 12 months, billions of dollars of assets under management, scaling extremely rapidly, but still not being in the main still not being accessible to a lot of people, you think, well, this is a really good moment to jump into this, because all these things are happening at the same time, but they haven't quite hit yet. And also, I think that given the global situation we've all been through and are still in, but we're coming out hopefully at the side of, there has been so much change, and there will be so much other change in all of our lives generally, that it drives further change across business too. And there is a real appetite out there right now for fintech from investors and from people wanting that change in the sector. For example, I'm doing an event at the end of the year in fintech with an investment bank, where we're talking to a number of institutions and high net worths about the things we've talked about here: asset management fintech and corporate finance fintech. The amount of people interested and wanting to be involved in that event it just reflects how much demand there is in general for this type of change and for the fintech services that are coming through. So it's just the level of noise around it, the level of positive noise around it has made me say, and I say, well, just get on and do it now. This is the time. 8 Capital is ready for it. We've got assets that we can use to restructure and strengthen the business, so we can go for it. And the right people are talking to us about partnering with us. So let's get on and do it.
And it's obvious to me that you are absolutely determined to become a strong player in the financial services technical revolution. Dominic White, Chairman of 8 Capital Partners, thank you very much indeed for joining us.